So the Illinois governor, Mr. J.B. Pretzel, has signed a bill repealing a felony law for knowingly exposing others to HIV. And look how happy he is, right? Like, look how he's smiling, right? Like he's finally doing it. In other words, if someone has HIV and they're aware that they're having it, right? Like they know. And despite that, they decide to go on Grindr and starts having sex with multiple people without disclosing it. That's the important part. Like he doesn't tell them. And one of them gets sick. That person is now not responsible. Like it's fine. Look, it's fine. Like you did you. Okay. Now, it's important to understand why this is happening because there are two reasons. One of them is a morality argument, right? Like you gotta understand. Usually governments make a law that has common sense, but then people find ways around the law. And I've noticed a lot of authoritarian individuals like constantly try to ignore this, right? Like they generally believe that by signing a piece of paper, you actually manipulate people to do what you want. In reality, if there is a law that, for example, punishes people for infecting someone else with HIV, right? What this actually does is it can actually convince people to not diagnose themselves. Right? I mean, think about it. If you happen to get it, it means that your sex life is over. Like if you're a 20-year-old something, right? And you're aware that if you have HIV and you give it to another person knowingly, legally speaking, you run the risk of going to prison, right? And so for the rest of your foreseeable future, you're not going to have sex with anyone. Now, there are two types of people, right? Like, there are the type of people that are compassionate and empathetic, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to pass this on someone else. And so, like, for those individuals, like, they will be responsible. But there are the types of individuals that are selfish, and they're going to say, you know what? No, I still want to have sex. Like, I'm a young person. I don't care about it. I still want to have sex. And if the law says that I can't pass it knowingly, then I don't want to find out. And so you may actually have cases of people that do not get tested. Here is my point, though. Fuck those people. I generally don't give a shit, you know, if they don't get tested. I care about not having myself, when I was younger, or my family, getting infected with HIV, right? And so, like, if someone knowingly infects someone, it's like poisoning, in my opinion. Like, if you genuinely are aware that you're having a medical condition and you're like willingly doing it for sexual gratification, no other reason, right? It's not like it's a contagious cough or anything like that. Like for sexual gratification, you're giving it to other people. Yeah, I think it should be a crime. I think it's okay if like the other person knows, right? And they're like having a conversation and they're like, look, I'm under treatment. My viral level is 0. I'm using a condom. Okay, fine, you know. Or if the people get married and then it's a closed loop, it's like it's their decision. Okay, but I'm already more permissive than most other authoritarian individuals by saying this. But if you actually like go on social media and you start dating like 10, 20, 30 people and you start giving it away, I mean, right? You're creating a public health hazard. And it's interesting that this comes after the pandemic, right? Where people were forced to swab themselves 24 hours, where they were locked in their house with, well, you can save one life. Like, after that, now you have this idea that, well, actually, knowingly passing a medical condition to other people, it's okay. I don't think it's okay. Now, let's talk about the other reason why it's like this. The whole HIV thing was overly exaggerated, and it also had religious connotations to it. And this is what happens, right? Like when society pushes too much in one direction, eventually people push out in the other. This is why, like, society needs to have common sense measures, and usually extremes do not solve the problem. It just delays it. Now, HIV, let's talk a little bit about it, right? So it's a fairly new disease compared to others, right? It apparently was gotten from a monkey. I don't want you to know how, because I don't know either, but it got transmitted from a monkey to a human. At least this is what people believe, right? And it compromises the immune system. Like, this means that after a while, someone sneezes on you and you die. right? And back in the day, it was a fatal disease. Now, it predominantly affected the LGBT community. And I don't know if it's okay to say this or not, because like for a long time you weren't supposed to say it because it was discrimination. But like, there is medical science that explains exactly why it affected the LGBT community more so than other communities, right? Most sexually transmitted diseases, not all, but usually they transmit better when they have contact with blood. And so when you have vaginal sex, the vagina is actually designed specifically for penetration, right? But when you have anal sex, the anus is not built for a pounding, and it has micro tears. Those micro tears can have like micro droplets of blood. And so like, by having anal sex, the chance of transmitting it is statistically higher than having vaginal sex. So it's not like straight people can't get it. They can, right? But people that have gay sex, more specifically homosexual, are more likely to get infected, right? And this is why during the AIDS epidemic, when I think even the singer of Queen, right, like he passed away, there was a lot of gay men that passed away. And this is why like the most activists of LGBT happened to be women, because back in the day you had the LBG organization, right? Lesbians, gays, and bisexuals, and or it was like the Lesbian Gay Alliance or something like that. But it wasn't like the LGBTQ plus I2SA that we have now. Now, and most of the men, they were affected by the AIDS thing, and it's not just because of the the butt sex, but it's also due to the fact that at the time, especially like gay men, were a lot more promiscuous. Like they had a lot more couples. It kind of makes sense, right? Because like if you're a guy and you're having sex with women, there's a lot of women that say no. But like when you're with other guys and two people, there's no one to say no. So more couples. Now again, this doesn't mean that straight people can't butt fuck, right? Like straight people that have ass sex, they're also at a higher risk. Again, it's about the anal penetration, basically, right? It's not necessarily about morality. It's not a punishment from God. It's not anything like that. It's just like simply due to the anal penetration. And of course, right, like there is other ways of getting it at the time, especially when the science wasn't as up to date as we have now. Blood transfusion, right? It was one of the ways. Being born from a mother that had it was another way. Going to the dentist or a tattoo parlor that didn't sterilize their instruments properly. But regardless, right, because it was something that affected promiscuous gay people a lot more than straight people, a lot of religious institutions pounced on it, right? And so the crackdowns were severe because it was also viewed like you're cracking down on the LGBT community, right? And so like if you put draconic punishments on it, you're basically like punishing the community that deserves it anyway, according to the evangelicals in the United States that were doing lobbying in order to crack down on this. And this is where like Dr. Fauci enters the room and shit. And it was like a complete moral panic as well. Like it wasn't just like this is a disease. It was like way overblown, and there was a lot of misinformation being spread because again, Dr. Fauci was involved. That it was the belief, the false belief that even being in the same room or kissing with another person that has HIV can transmit it. And this was at a time when people like generally didn't know, right? Like they watched it on the television and it's the first time that it appears. But regardless, right, this is where the government came in, like the right-wingers, they want harsh punishments, harsh crackdowns, while the left-wingers wanted anonymity, they wanted secrecy, they wanted doctor-patient confidentiality. And this is why, like, HIV was for a while treated like a completely different disease than anything else, right? Like, you would have, like, medical paperwork that would basically say that if a person is diagnosed with HIV, they have the right not to disclose it because they do not want to get harassed by the public, right? Because, again, it had, like, religious and cultural connotations, and a person with HIV would get ostracized more so than a person with hepatitis C or a person with gonorrhea, right? And so in order to prevent that from happening, like, they passed a lot of laws that promoted secrecy and I'm pretty sure like a lot of you know, right? Like this is not me saying something new. You can actually go and find the history of the disease on social media or on Google. Like none of this is weird. But the thing is, like, some of the punishments were indeed quite severe. And so a lot of the activists, they worked in order to remove the punishments. And some of the arguments being made is that, well, when the disease was created at the time, it was a fatal illness, right? Today, however, it's not a fatal illness because there's treatment. Well, the problem with that is that, sure, like there is treatment, but the treatment is very expensive. And the reason that it's at the price it is now is also because, like, you don't have massive epidemics and infections with HIV in the first world. But if you're changing the system, you're changing the rules of the game, and you're basically, like, decriminalizing it and saying it's okay to willingly infect others, well, the idea is, well, if the person has, treatment, then he's getting, like, suppressed viral load in his body, and so it's less likely to pass it on. Right. Okay, but, like, the new law doesn't say what happens if a person just refuses to take the treatment, or doesn't have money, or forgets, right? And now he has viral load to get it. He knows there are no consequences. Like, before he knew there are consequences, now he doesn't. And so, like, you're creating other problems, which can definitely spiral. But most legislations are not done for moral reasons, right? Like, most legislations are done for cultural reasons, and how does it look to the fan base? And if the fan base are leftists right now, well, the fan base appreciates legislation that doesn't seem like you're trying to I guess, sacrifice your morality, right? Because, like, Americans are all about moral purity, right? Like, they view negotiations as a cope. They view negotiations as a moral failing. Like, finding a middle ground means that you're not staying true to your principles. And from the left point of view, yes, like, finding a moral ground means that you're agreeing with the fascists. You're not sticking close to your principles. When the right is in power, the same thing happens, right? Like, they will make legislation that benefits the right, and they would view that any type of negotiation with the left is a moral failing. America is very keen on morality, right? They're not as pragmatic as they used to be, which is fine, like most nations are like that. Most nations have a period of pragmatism, usually when a crisis hits, and a period of high morality, usually when stability comes. The problem is that morality causes crisis. Crisis causes pragmatism. Pragmatism causes stability. Stability causes morality. And so round and round it goes, right? Now the United States is into a period where they can afford extreme morality. Right? Again, the problem is that morality fails to acknowledge for the real world. Like, sometimes the morals fit, right? Other times, a more nuanced and contextual approach is required. The problem is when you ignore that and you cling to dogma, well, the problems, they keep piling up. And eventually the dam breaks and you have to be pragmatic. You just have to say, okay, well, whatever, fuck the morality. We gotta fix the issue. Right? And when you become pragmatic, you fix the issues, and after the issues are fixed, it's like, why is society so immoral? We need to become moral again. Rise and repeat. It's cyclical. It's not a problem that's going to be fixed. It's just like the way the world works. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. And as usual, we'll see you in the comment section. Take care.